Thank you. You may be seated. Okay, that moves us on to the roll call of the board members. I'll turn to Mrs. Roberts, our treasurer, for roll call, please.
Mrs. Conrad Zangmeister.
Here.
Mr. Hoffman.
Here.
Mrs. Johns.
Here.
Mr. Kimmer.
Here.
Mr. Smeltzer.
Here.
Okay. All board members are present. Thanks, Mrs. Roberts. Moves us on to 1.5, the minutes. All board members had an opportunity to look at the April 7th board meeting and review those minutes. No adjustments or comments. Entertain a motion to approve the minutes as read.
So moved.
Okay, been moved by Mrs. Johns,
Second.
second by Mr. Smeltzer. Question? Question, I turn to Mrs. Roberts for the roll, please.
Mrs. Johns.
Yes.
Mr. Smeltzer.
Yes.
Mrs. Conrad Zangmeister.
Yes.
Mr. Hoffman.
Yes.
Mr. Kimmer.
Yes, motion passed unanimous. All right, moves us on to 1.6, adjustments to the agenda. Is there any adjustments to the agenda, Mr. Belville?
Yes, sir, we have one adjustment. We had a resignation come in over the weekend after we had set the board agenda. Jason Chase, who we had just hired as assistant maintenance at Bremen Elementary School, resigned after 5 days, just wasn't what he thought the job was going to be, and indicated that he just didn't have a desire to fill that position any longer. So would ask that the board consider accepting that resignation this evening so that we can get that job posted as soon as possible and try to get it filled quickly, so we have somebody in place for the summer.
Okay, and what were that?
It'll be 6.13 under new business.
6.13.
Yes, sir.
Okay. Okay, thank you. Okay, I'd entertain a motion to approve the adjustments to the agenda. Been moved by Mr. Hoffman. Would there be a second?
Second.
Second by Mr. Conrad Zangmeister. Question? Question, I turn to Mrs. Roberts for the roll, please.
Mr. Hoffman.
Yes.
Mrs. Conrad Zangmeister.
Yes.
Mrs. Johns.
Yes.
Mr. Kimmer.
Yes.
Mr. Smeltzer.
Yes.
Motion passed unanimously. All right, moves us on to information discussion, and then 2.1, superintendent updates, Mr. Belville, sir.
Yes, sir. Thank you. Good to have some nice weather for a change, but I appreciate everybody being here this evening. Couple items on the agenda. We have a recommendation for a couple of contracts. We can talk about those in greater detail as we get to those if there's a need. But 6.1, Veronica Dalrymple, she's currently tutor at Rushville Middle School, and we'd be transferring her to a teaching position. She's done a good job for us this year, and would recommend that. And if the board has questions when we get to that in the agenda, myself, Ms. Hahn could talk to that move if need be. Also, to fill the open tutor position by moving Ms. Dalrymple, that creates a tutor position at Rushville Middle School, and we have offered that to Ellie Patterson, Fairfield Union graduate, and she's been filling in as a long-term sub this year, has done a great job, is also coaching middle school softball for us this year, and it's always great when you can bring alumni home, and Ellie's just now graduating, so fresh out of college, and she has a 4 through 9 math and science certification, so obviously it's great to have those type of teachers waiting in the wings as well. So have those. We also have a lot of supplemental contracts this evening. Most of those are per the negotiated agreement that we're filling. It's a yearly thing, but we do have recommendations this evening for our varsity boys basketball coach, Coach Elber. And when we get to that spot in the agenda, we can talk about that in a little bit more depth as well. Also, the time of year to renew contracts, so you'll see those on the agenda: administrator, teacher, and classified personnel. So contract recommendations are on the agenda. If there are any questions as we get to those, I can certainly answer any specific questions as we get to those items in the agenda. A couple of trips listed on there. There are trips that we've taken in the past, but again, if there are specific questions, as we get to those spots in the agenda, feel free to ask questions, and we can address those in more depth if there's a need. Legislative update. It's an interesting time for sure in state politics. The week before Easter, the week after Easter, the General Assembly took a 2-week break, so things did calm down just a little bit, but they're ramping back up this week with Senate hearings on all of the legislation, all the bills being introduced. Obviously, the big one is House Bill 96, the budget bill, and the Senate is currently holding meetings on that. The timeline has slowed down a bit. Don't expect the Senate to push out their version of the budget until early June, maybe second week of June. At that point, it will go to a conference committee where some representatives from the House and representatives from the Senate will get together to hash out any differences between the House version of the budget and the Senate version of the budget, and then it will be off to the governor probably that last week of June with, state law requires that it's signed into law by June 30th. There are a lot of uncertainty still with the budget bill. I'm going to include a very detailed accounting of where we're at currently in my monthly memo that will go out to staff and board members probably tonight. I'll probably finish that up after the board meeting and get that out tonight. The biggest discussion point in the budget bill is the state trying to tie property tax relief for voters with school funding, tying those two things together. It is unprecedented in our state history. It is a complete rewrite of how taxes are levied, how schools are funded, an overhaul the likes of which we haven't seen in over 50 years. And they're trying to do it in about a month and a half. So it is, obviously creating a lot of anxiety across the state. I will say that the Senate appears to be more open to conversation than I thought they would be early on in the process. Very early on, we heard a lot of talk that the House and Senate were very much in step on this. As we know, as ex-Senate President Matt Huffman transitioned to the House and became Speaker of the House, he still has a heavy influence in the Senate, and that hasn't changed. But we are seeing a lot of senators voice opposition to some of the plans that are out there. The biggest note right now is the House budget that was proposed would put a 30% carryover cap on general funds. So what they proposed was schools would not be allowed to have more than a 30% carryover of their total overall expenditures from the previous year. They would cap that at 30%. If a school district was over that 30% threshold, then the Budget Commission, who is the county auditor, the county treasurer, and currently the prosecuting attorney, although the budget bill would change that from the prosecuting attorney to the president of the county commissioners, would be the third person on that committee. They would be forced by law to look at how much a school district was over that 30% carryover cap. Whatever that number is, they would collectively reduce property taxes in that school district by that amount, and thus force the school district to use general funds to make up for the deficit in property taxes that the school would collect in the following year, until the school was down or below that 30% cap. Now, if they lowered the property taxes and it pushed the school district down below the 30% cap, then the following year, the taxes would go back up in place and bring the district back to or above the 30% cap, because they would just go back to normal. The way the budget bill was written coming out of the House, it only gave that committee the power to reduce if you were over 30. If you're under 30, then they go back to normal. They didn't put any wording in to address what happens when a school goes under the 30%. So by default, it would go back to what was passed by the voters originally. You know, the idea that they're trying to accomplish in providing tax relief to constituents and trying to help with property taxes, I don't think anyone would argue that something needs to happen with property taxes in Ohio. They have jumped tremendously over the past 3 or 4 years. Fairfield County, you know, is not exempt from that. You know, the past 3 years, I think on average, our property taxes have gone up well over 30%. But to tie property tax relief with school funding is a slippery slope, because that constant from year to year going up and down is really going to make it difficult for taxpayers to plan on what their property taxes are going to be from year to year. Banks and mortgage lenders are starting to weigh in heavily on the proposed budget, because escrow accounts are going to be crazy. No one's going to know how to plan for yearly property taxes in their escrow accounts if you don't know from year to year what your taxes are going to be, or at least close know what they're going to be. So there's a lot there to work through. The Senate, like I said, the Senate has heard that. I've had 2 meetings recently with Senator Schaefer's office, and they've been very receptive, very involved in those discussions. Senator Schaefer is very aware of our particular situation where, you know, we have spent wisely. We've been very fiscally responsible with our funds. We're currently setting, and they're looking at 2024 numbers for this process. At the end of fiscal year 24, we were setting at 60% carryover. Again, they're wanting schools at 30. The House budget was wanting schools at 30. So we would be impacted by that, obviously. We're sitting at 60%, but as I shared with Senator Schaefer, much of our carryover was very intentional. We've had a lot of things come up. Our buildings are, you know, 13 to 15 years old. In that time frame, we've had to replace 4 chillers, 8 boilers, 2 roofs, other work that was subpar coming out of the OFCC project that we've had to go back and replace. You know, the air in the auditorium, controls for HVAC, all of those type of things. And he, you know, to Senator Schaefer's credit, he was really, really upset and bothered by the fact that we've had to pay so much out of our local funds to correct errors that came out of the OFCC project. And so he took that to heart, and you know, his understanding of there's a reason schools have a large carryover. We don't want to go back to our taxpayers and ask for a loan. So we've spent wisely and been fiscally responsible, and that's why we have a carryover, so we can take care of things. We know our parking lots will need repaved at some point. A year and a half ago, that quote was $2 million. It's probably well above $2 million now. Just to kind of give the board an idea, in the fiscal year 24, we were at 17 million, a little over 17 million in the general fund. So that was 60% of our overall expenditures. And to go down to 30%, that would have us under $9 million in the general fund. We're roughly 8.7 million in the general fund. If you have a $2 million paving project you need to do, you're down to 6 overnight. And like, you have to pave your lots at some point. I mean, you know, we're starting to get potholes and things like that. So, you know, those are things that, you know, are being debated at this point. Now, there's a lot more in the budget bill. Like I said, I'm gonna put out a memo that details a lot of things in it. The House version of the budget bill was well over 5,000 pages long. So there's a lot of things in there. For example, the cell phone policy for schools there's a standalone bill addressing cell phones, but there's also cell phone language in the budget bill. Both bills are going to make cell phones for students banned during the instructional day. There'll be no exceptions for in between classes, no exceptions for lunch. From the first bell to the last bell, cell phones are to be put away and out of sight. That is going to, you know, create a change, especially for our high school. But the fact it's in a standalone bill and in the budget bill tells me it's going to happen. The difference between those two bills, and I get them mixed up, that I think it's the budget bill would have the cell phone policy start September 1st. The standalone bill would have it start January 1st. You know, that's something we're going to have to address before the school year starts. We don't want to change rules after the school year starts. So, you know, within the budget bill, there's always a lot of other pieces of legislation that get tucked in there that we'll keep a close eye on and continue to update staff and the board as we go through that process. Any questions on that? Okay. Last thing for me, do want to point out the May 5th meeting was scheduled to be here at the district office. We're going to move that to Rushville Middle School. We're going to be recognizing our FFA students and their accomplishments from this school year. We were going to do part of that tonight and part of it next week, but the list just keeps growing of kids who've had some great accomplishments this year. And even if we split it up over 2 nights, it'd be a little crowded in here once you get kids and parents in. So we made a decision to just move all of those recognitions to May 5th, and we'll hold the meeting at Rushville Middle School so we have the space. You know, it's great recognizing and honoring student achievement, and that'll be a nice evening to recognize those students and all they've accomplished this year. So just note that May 5th meeting will be at Rushville Middle School in the cafeteria. Any questions? All right, well, thank you.
All right. Thank you, Mr. Belleville, for the update. Appreciate it. All right, moves us on to recognition of visitors. Has anybody signed in? Okay, no one signed in. All right. That's public comment. That'll move us on to reports and presentations then, and our administrator reports as we look forward to. So I'll turn to Mr. Matt McPhail, our building principal at the high school. Mr. McPhail.
Thank you, Mr. Kimmer. Good evening. I feel like my report tonight, I'm just going to be throwing a lot of dates at you guys. You know, this always busy, but the springtime, especially as we wrap up the school year, is, you know, there's just a lot going on. But before I do that, a couple of more just kind of futuristic business items, if you will, that from the high school side of things. I wanted to take a second. We just finished up our end of course exam testing process at the high school. And that has gone really well for quite a few years, but I wanted to give a shout out to Mr. Schaefer and Mr. DeSadio, the IT staff, all of the teachers in the high school. That process gets more and more complicated every single year. We've got students taking CCP classes, we've got students in special programs, we've got students at the Career Center, and you know, every single one of those students in the process has to be accounted for, has to be prepared and tested, and that becomes quite a challenge. Mr. Schaefer has done an outstanding job putting all that together for several years now. This year went flawlessly. It was very, very smooth. We've tweaked that schedule over time, and I wanted to take a second in front of the Board of Education to recognize that group of people. And again, the high school staff as well, you know, there's a lot of extra preparation for them. They administer those tests in their areas, and, you know, that's quite an undertaking on top of all their regular duties. So, huge shout out to them on that. It went really, really well. Along those lines, we just finished up our master schedule for next year, and, you know, the master schedule in a high school is the engine that drives the boat. You know, that's, you're trying to get a big bang for your buck with that, and we're proud of it. We've been ambitious over the years, and, you know, we set out 8 years ago to address some areas. We had some goal areas that we wanted to get addressed, and one of those was and continues to be rigor. The first aspect of rigor is to try to get the offerings, the footing in place to provide the opportunity to do that. And so we've systematically been trying to add college CCP classes at the high school. We've talked in many meetings about why we want to do that. We want to be able to give our best students and our families choices. We want to make it as attractive as we can to keep them on campus. So, you know, through that relationship with Muskingum that we've been talking about, every single class that we proposed heading into next fall, we were fortunate that we did have our teachers approved. So the implication there is that's 14 brand new college credit plus classes. That gets us to a total of 24. There's 2 that we won't be offering next year that really would make 26. And I'm sure that that's going to continue to evolve and grow. However, I will say this, we're to a point now where 24 college credit plus classes, 2 that we're not offering 26, 7 AP classes. I mean, we're starting to get to a place. That's every, in the superintendent's advisory group with our student leadership last week, we talked about the fact that every single department in the high school now, with the exception of family consumer science, physical education, has at least 1 college credit plus offering, and in a lot of those cases, there's an AP offering in those programs as well. So we're excited about that. The other thing that I think is even maybe more exciting for the long-term health, benefit, and growth of the high school is some changes we've made. We've talked about this over the years too, as a goal with the library, kind of transitioning to a media center. As the board knows, Mr. Shane Perdue going to transition into that media specialist. Our students are excited. The numbers that came in on the sequence of classes that we're going to offer next year through that program are significant. You know, the students, they respond to Mr. Perdue, and he understands what we're trying to get out of those programs. The long-term vision for that is, you know, we want all of the communication, every public forward thing that comes out of Fairfield Union High School, you know, possibly even the district, I guess, is to funnel through those programs. You know, they're going to have the video resources to do that. They're going to have the manpower and personnel to do that. That impacts athletic events, that impacts music events through our video board, you name it, podcasts, productions, YouTube productions, gives our administrative team opportunities to get messages out. The board, you know, those, so it's just going to be, now, you know, it'll be a work in progress. We've got to grow into it. But those 2 items, really, really, really significant, I think, and we're excited about it. And I think it's going to create really good opportunities for our students. So, I have quite a few just dates and information I want to shoot at you now, just kind of so we're all on the same page as we transition. We talked about, in terms of upcoming events and activities, last Thursday, we had our FFA banquet. That's a huge event every year. They do barbecue now. I think it's a big hit. They did a really good job with the prep and the decoration for all that. And so just wanted to shout out to our FFA group. They're having a really, really good year just overall. Our FCCLA competed in the FCCLA state competition last week, the 24th and 25th. We had 6 students qualify for the national. You know, there are other implications that's over the 4th of July, that FCCLA national, so it's not conducive. You know, those families will have a choice, but we did have 6 students qualify, and you know, you'll hear more on who is going to attend that later. Our DECA group is currently at their ICDC event, which is their national event. We have 2 students competing and attending there. That's in Orlando, Florida. They're there right now. The National Honor Society induction ceremony, I think we just talked about this earlier in the meeting. That's tomorrow evening at 6:30 p.m. This is Mrs. Toller does a great job with our NHS, and that's always a really, really well done event by her. Our Hope Squad, we've talked about our Hope Squad. You know, that group has had a really good year. They're going to push into the 2 elementaries. Let me check my date here, on April 30th. And so they're going to be doing some activities. Nothing of any kind of really deep, heavy material, but just have some fun, get some hands-on, have some conversations, and just kind of a feel-good day at the 2 elementaries. We'll spend a half day at each place. The state FFA convention is May 1st and 2nd. We always send a large contingent of students up to that. Of course, our prom is this Saturday, May 3rd. It'll be interesting in downtown Lancaster, because as I understand it, Lancaster's prom is Saturday night too, so it'll be a premium on seating. On May 5th, we have, and I'm not even beginning, I'm missing lots of other activities that we're doing. I'm trying to hit the bigger ones. Right to Read Week in the elementaries. We have a STEM group that's going to attend Pleasantville Elementary School for some activities. I think that's a part of our, in conjunction with the Second 7 program that we've done for several years now. And May 16th is Drive Your Tractor to School Day. So I will be surprised if that's not a large turnout for that. Hopefully the weather's nice, but last year there were, I don't know how many, but that front parking lot was pretty much full, so that's always unique. In terms of music, we've had a really good year music-wise. The programs, the guys are doing a great job, the entire music staff. Symphonic Band just completed in the state competition this past weekend. They received a 2 rating in the state competition. Had 1-1 on their floor performance and 2 2s, and then they had a 2 on their sight reading. Now, when you get to that level, that's highly, highly competitive. That's a really good score. Mr. Kitchen was really excited about that, and it's good footing to move forward. The men's and women's ensemble and the assembly singers will go to their state competition this Friday. So we have high expectations. We're anxious to see how they do, and I know they're prepped and ready to go. So that's May the 2nd. That's at Gahanna Middle School West. We have I should have written it down. We have a 5:20 performance, a 6:20 performance, and an 8:20 performance. I can't remember who's in what order, but those are our performances that evening. Our music gala is, the senior farewell concert is May 8th. That's 6 p.m. and 7 p.m. It's always kind of a tearjerker, nice event, a lot of tradition wrapped into that. The music gala is May 12th. The gala is actually at 7 p.m. The Hall of Fame dinner is at 5:30. We'll do that in our cafeteria. We're inducting Marshall Hanning, who's an associate dean for the College of the Arts at the University of Florida. Has a very, very well-decorated career in music education. Really, really an impressive person to be coming into our group. So he'll be here for dinner that evening, and to welcome him. Athletically, just very quickly, I'm not going to get into records this evening. We're having a very solid spring. Our track programs, I think Coach has been strategic this year on how he's approaching who he runs when, in what events. We've taken on some larger track meets, and I think all of this, we have 2 very gifted track teams. Both the men's and women's teams have an opportunity to do well in the state level competitions, and I think he's prepping those teams for that. So while maybe we're not, there have been years where we've won every single track meet we entered. We've won a couple of track meets this year, both the boys and the girls, but they're challenging themselves, and I think they're looking at different options so that they're going to be ready for the state meet. Baseball team's having a really good year. Baseball tournament starts, our sectional tournament game in baseball, May the 19th. The sectional tournament in softball is the week of May the 10th through the 17th. We don't have that date yet. And the Mid-State League track meet, we'll talk at the State of the Schools about the state level events for track, but the Mid-State League meet is May 13th, prelims, May 15th, finals. And then lastly, I'll just conclude my time here with just our senior dates. This senior class, you know, every class truly is special. They are. And, you know, sometimes it's almost embarrassing, you know, it sounds a little redundant each year you say this, but I mean, it's the truth. They always seem to find a way, they can kind of make their own mark. And so this is a really good group. They've been great leaders. They've been high performers. They've been first-class people. Excuse me. But the upcoming dates, the Workforce Development Center graduation, our students that go over there, that's May 15th at 11:30 a.m. My throat's dry. Our seniors' last day is May the 16th. Senior sunset, May the 16th, that's at 8:30 up on the upper fields. Our senior rewards banquet is May 18th at 4 o'clock in the auditorium. Senior breakfast, we'd love to see you guys all at senior breakfast if you can make it. That's May the 19th at 7:45. Very quickly, you know, we've built some traditions into that day with the clap outs and those kind of things. We are making one small addition to that. At both Bremen and Pleasantville Elementary, we've created some cards. The kindergarten staff at Bremen created some cards, and they're going to distribute those to us, and we're going to have our seniors on that morning write a little note to a kindergarten student, and then wrap the card up, and then kindergarten students are going to do the same for the seniors. And so when we do the clap out, we're going to take a moment to get them together, either outside the building or in the gym, and let the kindergarten students meet their senior companion and trade their note. And you know, so that was the idea of the kindergarten staff, and I think it's a really, really neat idea. So we'll be doing that this year. It'll take a little bit more time, but well worth it. Fairfield Career Center and Eastland Career Center. The Fairfield Career Center graduation is May 23rd at 8:30 a.m. and the Eastland Career Center recognition is May 23rd at 11 a.m. They're planning those at Groveport Madison High School, weather permitting. If not, they'll move it into their respective buildings. Our baccalaureate is May 25th at 4 p.m. and of course graduation at 6 p.m. in the football stadium.
Okay, Mr. McPhail, thank you. Thank you for the insight and comments. Very much appreciative. Yes. All right. We'll turn then to Mrs. Hahn, our Rushville Middle School principal. Mrs. Hahn, please.
Hi, thank you. I'm going to echo a little bit here at the beginning, just like what Mr. McPhail had said. Testing is over at Rushville Middle School as well. Just to kind of paint the picture, on a given day, we have sometimes up to 33 testing sessions running throughout the building, and so it is just a huge undertaking. So thank you to our IT department, Mrs. Schilling and Mr. DeStadio, Mrs. Rice, and all the teachers, of course, who prepare for all of those tests. Mrs. Pugh, who I know that we are going to be losing this year for her retirement, she does so much also to help us get ready for testing. With all of those testing sessions, we have testing tubs that has all the materials for each one of the teachers. Every day after testing, she cleans those out and gets them ready for the next test. And so she is just a tremendous help when it comes to testing. So we're definitely going to miss her and all of her efforts for our testing season. Earlier this month, the week leading up to our spring break, we celebrated Military Family Week. Something near and dear to my heart. My son and my dad are both veterans, and so this was important for us to celebrate this at the middle school. We had theme days each day, so the students could participate and dress up either like in their camo wear. This one day they wore like their favorite military branch. Each day on the announcements, I read a little bit of history about a different branch of the military, just to give the students a little bit of background information on that. We had letters that were sent home to each one of our military students who have families who are in active military person right now within their home, and all of our staff signed those, so those were sent home to our families. And then Mr. Funk provided breakfast from Tim Hortons for those students at the middle school who have active, family within the military right now. So a great week that we celebrated that, and we're looking just to kind of grow that in the years to come, just to make that a week even more special. This Thursday, May 1st, 5th and 6th graders who earned the third quarter incentive trip are attending that field trip to Tiki Lanes. And then on Friday the 2nd, the 7th and 8th graders who earned that trip will go as well. This is always a great trip for our kids. It's exciting to watch them come back in off the buses that morning or that afternoon. They come back in with their arms full of all this stuff they've purchased at the arcade and, all the fun things, and just huge smiles on their faces. So it's always a fun event for them. Thank you all for, approving those trips for those kids. I as well have a lot of dates. And as I was writing this, I noticed that there's just so many partnerships that we have with the elementaries in this month, all the different things that we do with them. So 7th and 8th grade band and choir concert is going to be 6 p.m. on May 7th. May 8th is our Real Money, Real World program that we partner with OSU Extension Office, and that's for our 7th grade students, Mr. Burke and Mr. Funk. They partner with them, and they have done this program for, I think, since I've been here. And so essentially what takes place is the 7th grade students are given a job that earns a certain amount of money. So then they have to budget in a month's time what they're going to spend on housing, what they're going to spend on a car, what they're going to spend on groceries. And so it is essentially them looking to see what it would really cost in the real world to live for, a month, month's time. So great real world experience for them, an eye-opening experience for them. It's interesting because when I've gone over there in the past to the activity center where they hold it, the kids will be like, I'm out of money. I don't have enough money to buy groceries this month. So then they have to kind of decide, okay, but then what do I need to give up in order to, what's my priority? So it's a really neat program. On May 9th, Mrs. Miller, Jennifer Miller, is taking a group of girls to OUL for the STEM program there. This was the WITS program in the past, which was primarily it was called Women in Technology and Science. But they've changed it to just call it STEM now. But we are having a few girls out of our 6th, 7th, and 8th grade attend this event. And again, it is all programs surrounding science, technology, engineering, and math. So that'll be a great program for them. We have our 7th and 8th grade semi-formal dance that same evening. If any of you are free on May 9th, I'm sure it's going to be a great time from 6 to 7:30 p.m. Our Leo Club is taking a trip to both Pleasantville and Bremen. They made fleece blankets, and so they are distributing those to the pre-K classes. That's always a great time for them. We have our National Junior Honor Society induction that same evening on the 12th as well in our gymnasium at 6 p.m. On the 13th, our 7th grade English Language Arts class, Miss Forsythe's class, they've been working on creating children's books. And so they are going to be going to Pleasantville on the 13th, and then they're going to be going to Bremen on the 14th to take those books to the students, read them to the students there. And so again, just another really awesome partnership, a neat little trip that they get to take and share these books with the kids at the elementaries. The 15th, the National Junior Honor Societies taking their annual trip to Kings Island, and on the 16th, again, here we go with another partnership, the National Junior Honor Society students are helping at the Pleasantville Field Day, and then they'll go back to Bremen on the 20th to help with their field day. So lots of really good community, helping different programs. We have on the 19th, our 5th and 6th grade field day for our own students, and then the 21st is the 7th and 8th grade field day. Of course, we have our last day for students on the 22nd, but on that last day of school is when the Power of the Pen state tournament is. So those students who earned that spot, or those spots, I take that back. We had 5 8th grade students and 4 7th grade students who advanced to the state tournament for the Power of the Pen. So that's going to take place on May 22nd. So, you know, we wish them luck, and sorry that they can't be there on the last day of school, but you know, we're looking for great things out of them on May 22nd. So that kind of wraps up the year. Very busy May.
Yes, indeed. Yes, indeed. Okay.
Questions?
Thanks, Mrs. Hahn, and Mrs. Hahn and
Yes.
and Mr. McFay, I want to comment to both of you. Thanks for your leadership too in the testing. It's very thoughtful, you know, a lot undertaking, but very thoughtful with the shout outs with Mr. Schaefer, Mrs. Rice, and Mr. DeStadio, and the ID department, and, you know, but thank you for your leadership in that testing as well, so, you know, so appreciate that, and all the insight, thank you both. Okay, all right, well, that turns us to Mr. Knott, our Bremen Elementary School Principal. Mr. Knott, please.
All right. Well, guess what? State testing is over. Hey! You haven't heard that. Shout out to the families. I had very little makeups to do. I know it's always hard
Yeah.
to rearrange schedules and push things back, so I do shout out to them and to the kiddos for pushing through and being able to shop. That's always very helpful. Today, grade 2 went to Alley Park. Guess what their favorite event was? The cockroach races.
Really?
Rumor has it Miss Hoffman was not a fan. However, the kids certainly enjoyed it. We wrapped up kindergarten screenings not too long ago. Very smooth. We do have a handful of kiddos who either register late or we have the stomach bug already starting. So we got all those made up. We have a couple that called in today. Numbers are looking really good. Feeling very positive about that. So, you know, kudos to Miss Andy. That's a huge undertaking on top of your normal day-to-day. She did a great job with that. And looking at our upcoming events, Staff Appreciation is the week of May 5th. We stick to our Under the Sea theme for that as well. PTO does a really nice job of treating the staff that week. We have our very last music program this Thursday night. It's our 4th grade. That one's the little emotional one. But it's always a very good program. You know, Mrs. Burnworth does an amazing job with that. Right, Read Week, again, Under the Sea theme is the week of May 12th. We're actually going and visiting the Bremen Library. They're going to read to us. They're going to share their summer programming with us. We're in talks with Tasty Freeze to see if we can get them to open up a day for us like we did last year. So we do try to get out in the community. We use the park in May quite a lot. So that's always fun there too. Health Fair, this is at our building this year. That's Friday, May 16th. Jen Pike has done a nice job really having lots of options. We have more than we had in the past, and we've always had a lot. So I'm looking forward to seeing how that all shakes out. It's always nice. Many community members come and kind of are in those positions. So for kids to see their family members or people they know and the kind of job that they do in the world of health is always helpful as well. Our field day is May 20th. We always promise the kids will go home a little wet, definitely tired, and easy to put to bed that night. So that's always a win. On the last day of school, our 2-hour early release, that is our 4th grade clap out. We actually sent that information home, or we will tomorrow morning. Again, that's one of those bittersweet moments. Most kids are excited until they're excited, they go out the hallway, and then when they when they come around to the building, that's when we start to see a little emotion kick in, but that's okay, that just means they've enjoyed their time there. A little couple shout outs. Abby White, who was in both of our buildings this year doing reading. Anytime someone steps into a new role and they've done an amazing job before, they probably are most critical of themselves. She has done a phenomenal job. It is not easy to bounce between 2 buildings, 2 different principal kind of demands and priorities, different staff members, different groups of kids, just learning the names and the schedule routines. She's done a really good job. So shout out to her for that. And then of course our PTO. Our PTO is always saying to me, what else do you need? What else can we help with? And have never ever said no. We figured out any way we need to do something, we've been able to get that done. So shout out to them, because that's a lot of work on top of what their already busy lives are. That is all I have for tonight. Thank you.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Knott. Appreciate the insight with Bremen Elementary. All right, turns then to Mrs. Tokars, our Pleasantville Elementary Principal. Mrs. Tokars, please.
Good evening. So I'm going to start by sharing a few grade level highlights. In kindergarten, in celebration of Earth Day, our students participated in a field trip connected to their CKLA unit, taking care of the earth. They got to visit the Fairfield Union High School Ag Department, where high school students led stations teaching about the life cycle of a plant. Our youngest learners had the opportunity to plant seeds and explore the greenhouse, deepening their understanding of how to care for the earth. I know they had an awesome time. They got to go to the land lab that day, and we're just so grateful for our partnership with our high school students. In first grade, our first graders are eagerly anticipating the hatching of their chicks next week. This hands-on experience is also part of CKLA in the Life Science unit, helping students learn about life cycles, animal habitats, and basic needs in a real-world context. So a big thank you to Schultz Valley Farms. They donate all of our chicks, and we're so grateful to them. It's so exciting to see the kids, at the incubator waiting. Second grade, our second grade students recently became published authors. They created a class book titled Just One Thing. This project, also inspired by CKLA Western Expansion, asked students to imagine what one item that they would take if they were moving west. Creative responses included a magic bowl, a never-ending snack bar, and a four-wheeler. The book was proudly dedicated to Mr. Belville, so Mr. Belville, stop by. They just got it back. It's beautiful. You're gonna love it when you see it. Third grade has two exciting events coming up. May 14th, they have their economic fair from 1 to 1:45, and they have their wax museum on May 19th in the morning, in the AM, so 9 to lunchtime around 11:30. And of course, both of those events are tied to CKLA as well. It's been really exciting to watch teachers be passionate about our new curriculum and just the way that they're able to connect some of the things that they've always done to CKLA, and I've been really proud of them and just watching them do that and dig in. Today was extra special in fourth grade as our fourth graders celebrated their very last Grandparents' Day at Pleasantville. Again, it was an emotional day. It was also a beautiful day. Thank you to everyone who made this day so special, especially Mrs. Burnworth. Our grandparents were treated to a special sneak peek of the fourth grade music program, It's Our Time, and that program is scheduled for tomorrow night at 6 p.m. Our students did an awesome job. I'll be posting a sneak peek on Facebook later this evening. So in terms of the building focus, this spring Pleasantville has placed a strong emphasis on positive behavior interventions and supports, PBIS. Each month throughout this final quarter, we've been working toward building-wide incentives that celebrate positive behavior. We've celebrated a VIP day in March. We had March Madness Manners, a school-wide Easter egg hunt, which is happening this Wednesday for the top 4 classes who earned the most SOAR cash, and then a surprise mystery field trip in May to the park. They don't know that. To the park. So by consistently recognizing and rewarding positive behavior, we're just setting that encouraging tone throughout our building. And I think testing is such a good example of that. All of our kids were there for testing. We had 2 makeups to do for testing, and I thought that just speaks volumes. I've been in education for 23 years, and I've been through a lot of testing seasons, and we typically have quite a few makeups. So to have all of our students there for testing, I think just speaks to our teachers and how they encourage kids to be at school. In terms of professional development, our staff has been diligently working to finish up their science of reading training. Almost all of our teaching staff in the building is finished. They have until June to get that done. We're almost wrapped up with that. And like I said earlier, just digging deeper into our new curriculum, collaborating, constantly striving to make the curriculum the best that it can for our students. I just appreciate that so much. As an English language arts teacher myself, I just see the hard work that they're putting in, and I love being in the classrooms, and of course I have to pipe in when I'm in there because it's just who I am, but I love co-teaching with teachers and just stepping in for minutes at a time to be excited about a new book they're reading in class or whatever it is they're doing. Upcoming events, tomorrow we have spring pictures. We also have band fittings for 4th grade. That's always super exciting to see who's gonna join the band. Again, Hope Squad comes this Wednesday. We're excited about that. Teacher Appreciation Week is next week, and our PTO always does an awesome job honoring our staff that week. Next week, we also have Right to Read Week. Our theme at Pleasantville is I Am a Reading Scientist, so we're really excited to talk about nonfiction. Our PTO for our 4th quarter is bringing Traveling COSI to Pleasantville, so we're super excited about that. Field Day is on the 16th. We also have Kona Ice coming on the 21st, which is part of our PBIS and just a reward for all of our students who are doing the right thing, and we're so excited about that. And then, of course, the last day of school on the 22nd in our 4th grade clap out. Lastly, I just want to give a huge thank you to the Pleasantville PTO for hosting another incredible carnival. This year's carnival, record-breaking, again, bigger than ever before. Last year I never thought I could say it was bigger, but this year it was bigger. I just appreciate their dedication, hard work, creativity to make these memorable events for our students and community members. I mean, the bingo is just, it's a community hit. I think people in the community look forward to that year round. We were raffling off washers, dryers, Xboxes, I don't know how big the TV was. It was bigger than the one I have, and we have a big one at my house, so. But we are so grateful. One of our families at our school just loves to give back and donated all of these items for our carnival, so we are just so grateful for that. It's a great ending to the school year. I can't believe we're saying that. It doesn't seem possible that we have 18 days of school left, but here we are, and I'm finishing my 2nd year as principal.
All right, well, thank you, Mrs. Tokars.
Thank you.
So appreciate the insight, and also with you, Mrs. Tokars, Mr. Nah, Mr. Johns, thank you for your leadership in the testing as well, and leadership in your building. So thankful to all the administrators for the insight. Appreciate it very much. Other comments?
I just want to add,
Yes,
I love seeing the collaboration between the buildings with the kids, and I think that's great. I think we're capitalizing on what we already have here, so thank you for doing that.
Yes, indeed. It touched on it, Mrs. Tokars, a little bit. It's amazing how giving our community is, our school district and our communities, how giving they are. I don't know how the other ones do. I don't know, but I know with Pepper Union Schools, we have some very giving and thoughtful people in this community that care about our young people, so, yeah, so. Okay, well, we're gonna move on to the consent agenda. It won't be disrespectful. If you need to step out, all administrators at any time, it will not be disrespectful whatsoever. So if you need to leave, please do so if that's your desire, okay? All right then, that moves us on to consent agenda section, and 5.1 is workshop and conferences. Yes.
Mr. Kimmer, I just
Yeah.
point
Oh,
out
I'm sorry.
in 5.1, I
Yes.
just want to apologize to Ms. Johns. We normally try to catch and pull things out
Okay.
if someone needs to abstain,
Okay.
and I missed Mr. Johns to the OTES 2.0 training. There's no cost for that,
Okay.
but should have
Okay.
pulled that out, so I apologize for missing that.
Okay, Mr. Belleville, thank you for that comment and the insight with that. As you can see with workshops and conferences, there is for Edie Schilling to the Literacy Academy 2025, June 12th in Columbus. Mr. Trent Johnson, OTES 2.0, new evaluator credential training, August 5th, 6th, 7th, Edmonds-Kingdom Valley ESC. No cost. And Mr. Judd Baker to the Big E Conference, September 11th to the 14th, Springfield, Massachusetts, cost of $2,000. And
And
Edie,
that $2,000, Mr. Baker knew this year the Ag Department held a golf scramble to raise money to cover that. And that was this past weekend, and down there, and great success. It was well run. We did, I think they ended up having 20 teams or right around there, and
Wow.
We were able to play the scramble in under 4 hours. So it was incredibly well organized and ran well. We'll give a shout out to Mr. Baker, Ms. Penrose, Mr. Turner for their hard work, but also Mr. Pack for his help in organizing. He does a lot for several of our golf scrambles and helps out, and Pumpkin Vine for hosting. But the actual cost there, that's what it's costing them to go, but I believe they have fundraised all the money for that trip. Yeah.
Wow, outstanding. Okay, thank you for that insight, Mr. Belleville. And then number 4, then Edie Schilling to the Visual Performing Arts Gifted Identification Event, May 7th at Pickerington at no cost. No comments from board members for Mr. Belleville or anyone. We'll move on then to 5.2, financial items. Financial items, and I'll turn it to our treasurer, Mrs. Roberts, please.
2 items this evening. The first is what we consider to be a then and now. Just a bit of a mix-up here on a purchase order that was for prom. The purchase order actually was originally done for the deposit, and then the next purchase order for the balance of the cost had been missed, and so it was just a little bit of a mix-up there. So just because it's over $3,000 due from an audit, we have to bring that to the board for approval. But that's all taken care of, and purchase orders and paid and everything, but just from a technicality side, have to bring that to the board.
Okay.
And the second is a donation of $500 to the Land Lab in memory of Harold and Retta Archer. So obviously, always very appreciative
Yeah.
for donations.
Yeah, I'd like to, just an additional comment as well, Mrs. Roberts, with the donation of, I'm not sure the person wants their name mentioned, but the donation of that $500 in memory of Harold and Retta Archer, you know, how kind and thoughtful that is. And there you just spoke earlier about how giving some of our community members are of this district. So without permission, that person in that memory, very kind and thoughtful for that donation. So, okay. Any thoughts from Mrs. Roberts with those items? If not, comments? I'll move to 5.3, approval of the consent agenda. A motion to approve the consent agenda item is recommended by the superintendent treasurer. Entertain a motion, please.
So moved.
Been moved by Mr. Smeltzer. I'll second that. Question? A question. I'll turn to Mrs. Roberts for the roll, please.
Mr. Smeltzer?
Yes.
Mr. Kimmer?
Yes.
Mrs. Conrad Zangmeister?
Yes.
Mr. Hoffman?
Yes.
Mrs. Johns?
Abstain.
Okay. Motion passed. Moves us on then to new business section, 6.1. Motion to approve one-year teacher contract for Veronica Maple. Dalrymple. I got it. I'm sorry, Mrs. Dalrymple. As our elementary intervention specialist, the salary schedule A, bachelor's degree, step 2, beginning in 2025, 2026 school year, pending verification of all applicant materials. Entertain a motion, please.
So moved.
Been moved by Mrs. Conrad Zangmeister. Would there be a second?
I'll say.
Second by Mr. Hoffman. Question. The question, I turn to Mrs. Roberts for the roll, please.
Mrs. Conrad Zangmeister?
Yes.
Mr. Hoffman?
Yes.
Mrs. Johns?
Yes.
Mr. Kimmer?
Yes.
Mr. Smeltzer?
Yes.
Motion passed unanimously. 6.2, tutor contract. Motion to approve a one-year tutor contract for Elena Patterson as Rushville Middle School tutor on the tutor salary schedule, step 1, beginning 2025, 2026 school year, pending verification of all applicant materials.
We talked about that in my updates.
Okay.
Excited to bring Ellie into the fold.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Belleville. Entertain a motion to approve.
So moved.
Been moved by Mrs. Johns. Would there be a second?
Second.
Second by Mrs. Conrad Zangmeister. Question. A question. I turn to Mrs. Roberts for the roll, please.
Mrs. Johns?
Yes.
Mrs. Conrad Zangmeister?
Yes.
Mr. Hoffman?
Yes.
Mr. Kimmer?
Yes.
Mr. Smeltzer?
Yes.
Motion passed unanimously. 6.3, transfers. A motion to approve transfers as presented beginning in 2025, 2026 school year. As board members see, there's 2, Shane Purdue from the high school language arts teacher to high school journalism, multimedia teacher. And then Sierra Roberts from the Bremen Intervention Specialist to the Bremen Elementary Intervention Specialist serving Bremen and Pleasantville. I'd entertain a motion to approve.
So moved.
Been moved by Mr. Hoffman, I'll second that. Question? A question, I'll turn to Mrs. Roberts for the roll, please.
Mr. Hoffman,
Yes.
Mr. Kimmer,
Yes.
Mrs. Conrad Zangmeister,
Yes.
Mrs. Johns,
Yes.
Mr. Smeltzer.
Yes.
Motion passed unanimously. 6.4, personal service of supplemental contracts. Motion to approve the personal service supplemental contracts as presented. You see the list, 1 through 22 in front of you. Mr. Bell.
We'll like to talk about number one there. We have Coach Elber here with us this evening, and when we posted the job, when Coach Schaefer accepted the role as high school principal and stepped down, we received multiple applications, a lot of highly qualified candidates for the position. As one candidate put it, he knew exactly what was wrong with the program and how to improve it, and sorry, Coach Schaefer. It turned out, privately, that was Coach Elber. No, I'm just kidding. I'm just kidding. Whenever you have a program that is highly successful, that is run in an exemplary manner, we've had that for several years now. Dating back prior to Coach Schaefer, Coach Eversole did an amazing job with the program. Coach Schaefer, continued that tradition and elevated the program. And we know as we started this search, we needed to find somebody else that was going to take over and then elevate it again. And that was very much a thought process and a focus for us as we went through the applications and considered our options. And every time we would get a new application, we talked about it. We always kept coming back to one thing, and that was someone who was familiar with what we do, how we do it, would embrace that, but then put their twist on it and not just come in and want to completely change everything. Things have been operating at a really high level for a really long time, and we don't want to lose that. We have a good young nucleus of kids, and obviously Coach Elber has been instrumental for the past several years in the development of our athletes and supporting them. And at the end of the day, for me, having someone there who is passionate, who knows the program, but more than anything, truly loves our kids, that was it. And I kept coming back to that. And Coach's first meeting with our athletes, I didn't share any of that with him. And as we're sitting there in the first meeting and he's talking to the kids, he literally closed the meeting by telling them he loved them. And, that to me, that's everything. If there is trust and passion and love within the program, great things will happen. And I have no doubt in my mind that Coach Elber is going to do some really great things with our program. He has a vision. He knows what he wants to do. And he's already started working quickly to build a staff that I think is going to really be first class. When we start bringing some names to the board for consideration as assistant coaches, I think you'll be very pleased to see a lot of names on there that you recognize, former players, people who have gone through the program, people who are passionate about Fairfield Union, about our basketball program. And whenever you have a foundation, based on respect, love, hard work, and then you start adding coaching pieces to that equation that are former players that also have that passion for all things Fairfield Union, the future's bright. So I'm really excited to bring Coach Elber to the board for consideration this evening. Coach Schaefer, anything you want to add to that?
I mean, he's been making all the calls for the last 4 years anyway. No, we're excited. Just the wins. Just the wins. I've taken the losses. We're excited. The kids are excited. From the moment he was announced, you could just see that there was a sense of ease through them, that they understood the expectations weren't changing, the way that things were gonna be run wasn't changing. So they're excited. I mean, they're getting at it, getting in the gym. So, we talk a lot about the privilege that it is to be a part of Fairfield Union basketball. So hiring somebody that understands that and is gonna continue to provide our kids with that opportunity, I think it's exciting, to see where they're gonna go. Looking forward to it.
Well, I mean, that's, I would just say that, Coach Helber's time here has been well documented in working with Coach Eversole and Coach Schaefer, but that's not where his basketball lineage stops. I mean, he has worked with a lot of really high-end coaches and has been a head coach, previously, at Logan High School himself. So, I'm just excited for him to have this opportunity for all the reasons that we've discussed.
Coach, anything?
I just want to thank you for giving me the opportunity. I really appreciate it. I want to thank Mr. Belleville, Mr. McPhail, Coach Schaefer, and Coach Mr. Harris for considering me for the job. And I'm really excited. Are we not allowed to share my coaching staff?
Well, they still have to vote on it, but,
I mean, I'll
you can share who you'd like to bring.
I'm just really excited. Coach Johns will be my assistant coach. Coach Booth will stay around and be a volunteer coach. Matt Smith, remember Matt Smith? Yeah. He has come back. Yeah. He will be a volunteer assistant. I hired a young kid named Brock Unger, coached at Alexander last year. Wanted to be here. And the funny thing about him is he applied at Logan for a teaching job. And they said, "You want to coach?" And he said, "Yeah, I'm not here. I'm coaching for Helber at Fairfield Union." I said, "I'm not the wisest." And then our freshman coaches, these are two kids I'm excited about. Colin Woodside and Lucas Thompson will be our freshman coach. And then Chad and Logan McNeil will be our junior high coaches. And if you count, that's 6 former Falcons that are on staff. And I'm excited to have these guys come on and be, work with. So, again, thank you so much. We'll do my darndest to win and keep the tradition of Fairfield Union basketball going.
Okay. Thank you, Mr. Helber, Mr. Schaefer, Mr. McPhail, Mr. Belleville, for all the comments, and we'll entertain a motion to approve the personal service supplemental contracts as presented.
So moved.
Been moved by Mr. Smeltzer. I will second that question. A question, I turn to Mrs. Roberts for the roll, please.
Mr. Smelter.
Yes.
Mr. Kimmer.
Yes.
Mrs. Conrad Zangmeister.
Yes.
Mr. Hoffman.
Yes.
Mrs. Johns.
Yes.
Motion passed unanimously.
Congratulations.
Thank you. Thank you. Appreciate I love those kids. They're awesome. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Appreciate it much. It's fun. This is my 10th year starting up here. I didn't realize. Is that right? Until someone told me. 10 years. Thank you. Appreciate it.
Thanks, sir.
Congrats, Coach. Thank you. Thank you.
If you guys want to leave.
Yes. Again, yes, as mentioned previous, if you'd like to step out, won't be disrespectful, so thank you. Appreciate it. Okay, that moves us on to 6.5, administrative contracts. Motion to approve administrator's contracts as presented. All board members see the attachment that's presented with those two, Amy Nolan and Edie Schilling, so. If there's no comments, then I'll entertain a motion to approve those administrative contracts, please.
So moved.
Been moved by Mrs. Johns. Will there be a second? Second by Mr. Hoffman. Questions? No question, I turn to Mrs. Roberts for the roll, please.
Mrs. Johns,
Yes.
Mr. Hoffman,
Yes.
Mrs. Conrad Zangmeister,
Yes.
Mr. Kimmer,
Yes.
Mr. Smeltzer.
Yes.
Okay, motion passed unanimously. Certified contracts, 6.6, motion to approve the certified contracts as presented. You see the attachments as well. Teacher contract recommendation, tutor contracts, retired certified contracts recommendation. Entertain a motion to approve the certified contracts as presented. Been moved by Mrs. Conrad Zangmeister. Would there be a second?
Second.
Second by Mr. Smeltzer. Question? No question. I turn to Mrs. Roberts for the roll, please.
Mrs. Conrad Zangmeister.
Yes.
Mr. Smeltzer.
Yes.
Mr. Hoffman,
Yes.
Mrs. Johns,
Yes.
Mr. Kimmer.
Yes. Motion passed unanimously. 6.7, support service contracts. Motion to approve the support service contracts as presented. See, there's two attachments there. Support service contract recommendations and retired support contract recommendations.
I move to approve.
Okay, been moved by Mr. Hoffman to approve the support service contracts. I'll second that. Question?
I just want to recognize that Deanna has been here for 42 years.
Say it again, Mrs. Conrad English?
Deanna.
Oh, Deanna Throckmorton.
Throckmorton, yes.
Yes. Oh, yeah.
Been here for 42 years.
42 years.
Yeah, she and Chrissy Smith both were hired right out of high school for their positions.
Yeah, 'cause she hired us.
Christy hasn't retired yet, thank God. But she's right there with Deanna.
Wow,
It's impressive.
yes.
Yeah, Christy graduated a couple years ahead.
Wow. Thanks for bringing that to attention. I didn't realize 42 years, so, yeah. Okay. If no other thoughts, been moved by Mr. Hoffman and second by myself. Turn Mrs. Roberts for the roll, please.
Mr. Hoffman,
Yes.
Mr. Kimmer,
Yes.
Mrs. Conrad Zangmeister,
Yes.
Mrs. Johns,
Yes.
Mr. Smeltzer.
Yes.
Motion passed unanimously. 6.8, substitute teacher list. Motion to approve the substitute teacher list as presented. See the attachments in front of you.
So moved.
Okay, it's been moved by Mr. Smeltzer,
Second.
then second by Mrs. Conrad Zangmeister. Question? Question, I turn to Mrs. Roberts for the roll, please.
Mr. Smeltzer.
Yes.
Mrs. Conrad Zangmeister.
Yes.
Mr. Hoffman,
Yes.
Mrs. Johns,
Yes.
Mr. Kimmer.
Yes. 6.9, substitute classified list. You have that attachment in front of you as well. Motion to approve the substitute classified list as presented.
So moved.
Been moved by Mr. Smeltzer, I'll second that. Question? A question, turn to Mrs. Roberts for the roll, please.
Mr. Smeltzer.
Yes.
Mr. Kimmer.
Yes.
Mrs. Conrad Zangmeister.
Yes.
Mr. Hoffman.
Yes.
Mrs. Johns.
Yes.
Scared me there for a second. I thought we'd done something wrong. What am I missing here? What am I missing?
Motion passed unanimously. 6.10, educational trip. Motion to approve Mr. Judd Baker to take a FFA forestry team to compete at the East States Exposition Fair, the Big E, September 11th through the 14th, West Springfield, Massachusetts.
So moved.
Been moved by Mrs. Conrad Zangmeister. Would there be a second?
I'll second.
Second by Mrs. Johns. Question? Question, I turn to Mrs. Roberts for the roll, please.
Mrs. Conrad Zangmeister.
Yes.
Mrs. Johns.
Yes.
Mr. Hoffman.
Yes.
Mr. Kimmer.
Yes.
Mr. Smeltzer.
Yes.
Motion passed unanimously. 6.11, educational trip for, a motion to approve Heidi Mueller to take Pleasantville first grade students to Columbus Zoo on May 20th.
So moved.
Been moved by Mrs. Conrad Zangmeister. Would there be a second?
I'll second.
Second by Mr. Hoffman. Question. Question, I turn to Mrs. Roberts for the roll, please.
Mrs. Conrad Zangmeister. Mr. Hoffman.
Yes.
Mrs. Johns.
Yes.
Mr. Kimmer.
Yes.
Mr. Smeltzer.
Yes.
Motion passed unanimously. 6.12, resolution 2025-001 declaring transportation impractical. Motion to approve the resolution declaring transportation impractical as presented. You see the attachment in front of you?
So we have two students this year, same two students that this was declared impractical for last year. They are attending a private school that is outside of our radius.
Okay.
Therefore, the first step of this is for the board to approve the resolution. Then at the end of the year, the parent has to provide documentation that those students attended that school for the year, and then that parent is provided payment for transporting their students. It's a state set rate per student, so this is just the first step of the process. Typically, the parent has to reach out to us, and the father did just reach out to us at the end of last week.
Okay. Okay, thanks, Mrs. Roberts, for the insight, comments. I entertain a motion. Been moved by Mr. Smelter. Would there be a second?
I'll second.
Second by Mrs. Johns. Question. The question, I turn to Mrs. Roberts for the roll.
Mr. Smeltzer.
Yes.
Mrs. Johns.
Yes.
Mrs. Conrad Zangmeister.
Yes.
Mr. Hoffman.
Yes.
Mr. Kimmer.
Yes, motion passed unanimously. Moves into the executive session.
No, we have
Oh,
6.13.
Do that every time. I'm so thankful you all. 6.13, Jason Chase, resignation. Entertain a motion to approve.
So moved.
Been moved by Mrs. Conrad Zangmeister, second by Mr. Smeltzer. Question. No question, turn to Mrs. Roberts for the roll, please.
Mrs. Conrad Zangmeister. Mr. Smeltzer.
Yes.
Mrs. Johns.
Yes.
Mr. Hoffman.
Yes.
Mr. Kimmer.
Yes, motion passed unanimously. Okay, now it moves into executive session. 7.1, adjournment into executive session. A motion to adjourn the executive session in accordance to section 121.22 of the Ohio Revised Code. Would there be any action taken?
No action afterwards, and Mr. Kimmer, we're in hiring season. A lot of interviews, so we'll only be discussing the employment of an employee or official.
Okay, bring that on. Okay,
So it'd be number one there.
number one. Number one of those, okay. Okay, entertain a motion to, been moved by Mrs. Conrad Zangmeister. I'll second that. Question? Question, I turn to Mrs. Roberts for the roll, please.
Mrs. Conrad Zangmeister.
Yeah.
Mr. Kimmer.
Yes,
Mr. Hoffman.
Yes.
Mrs. Johns.
Yes.
Mr. Smeltzer.
Yes.
motion passed unanimously in the executive session then at 8:18.